Mastering the correct techniques for setting up scuba diving equipment is a fundamental skill for all divers. Contrary to common assumptions, assembling a D.I.R equipment configuration is not as complex as it may seem. In fact, once you grasp the essentials, it proves to be quite straightforward. Begin by positioning the cylinder upright on a flat surface. If using rental equipment, ensure to verify the inspection dates on either the neck of the cylinder or the sticker on its side. For those using personal cylinders, it is presumed that you maintain oversight of their inspection schedules. Use your oxygen analyzer to assess the contents of the cylinder, even if you're not planning a nitrox dive. Every diver should own a personal analyzer. However, if you don't have one, you can likely obtain one from the dive operator who supplied the cylinders. Even if you consistently refill your cylinders at the same location, it remains prudent to check the gas mixture, as an error from the filling station or dive center could lead to serious consequences. Therefore, consistently analyzing and labeling your cylinders is a must. While a nitrox course will cover gas analysis and cylinder labeling in detail, we are preparing a brief video specifically for non-nitrox divers that will elucidate the process and the use of oxygen analyzers, so stay tuned. Once you are done with your label, position the BC on the cylinder from above, ensuring that the wing is on the same side as the cylinder valve opening. While many agencies and instructors suggest specific vertical placements, such as positioning the cam band 4 fingers from the cylinder's curvature, we advocate for a personalized approach based on individual preferences and needs. Since divers vary in size and flexibility, a one-size-fits-all rule is impractical. Considerations should include ensuring easy access to the first stage and cylinder valve in emergencies and maintaining an unobstructed head movement without interfering with the first stage. It is crucial to ensure the buckle is properly secured, as incorrect threading can cause the buckle to open and potentially allow the cylinder to slide. Here is an excerpt from one of our previous videos demonstrating the correct procedure. To watch the full video, click the link in the upper right corner. Prior to tightening the bands, verify the orientation of the BC. The top edge of the backplate should be aligned parallel to the cylinder valve. Once the optimal position is achieved, secure the backplate by holding it in place with your knee, while using one hand to steady the valve and the other to fasten the buckles on the cylinder. Ensure the cam bands are sufficiently tightened by lifting the gear using the shoulder straps or by attempting to move the clamps up and down. If there is any looseness, release the bands, adjust them to achieve a tighter fit, and then re-secure the buckles. Next, hold the regulator by the first stage with one hand and gather the hoses with the other. Position the first stage so that the second stages will orient to the right side, and the SPG and inflator hose will fall to the left side of the BC. Secure the long hose by clipping it to the right shoulder D-ring to prevent it from trailing on the ground during the procedure. If this is your first encounter with a long hose regulator setup, we invite you to view our detailed video on the topic by clicking the link in the upper right corner. Remove the dust cap from the first stage and inspect the O-ring for proper placement and any visible damage. Insert the connection of the first stage into the cylinder valve, ensuring that the screw aligns with the grooves inside the valve's opening. Note that we are using a DIN-type first stage. Attaching one with a yoke connection involves a different procedure. Gently tighten the screw to secure the first stage to the cylinder, ensuring a safe attachment. Avoid straining it, only tighten it until the first stage is in place and stops moving. Subsequently, attach the LPI hose to the inflator valve on the corrugated hose of your BC. Consider using inner tube segments as hose retainers to enhance the streamlining of your equipment. Secure the SPG by clipping it to the D-ring on your waist strap. Hold and cover the first stage, as a displaced O-ring or improper assembly could cause it to malfunction when the valve is opened. Slowly and completely open the cylinder valve. Disregard the outdated practice of opening it with a quarter turn back, as this approach proved to be potentially hazardous or even fatal on numerous occasions. At this stage, verify that the gear is functioning correctly. Begin by assessing the quality of the gas in the cylinder. Take any of the second stages and gently purge it to smell the gas. It should be completely odorless, fresh, and clean. If you detect any unusual smell, the cylinder should not be used for your dive. Additionally, take a few breaths from each second stage to ensure proper function. If you encounter any issues, make an effort to resolve them. But if you are unable to do so, switch to another regulator set or cancel your dive. Confirm the operation of your BC by inflating the wing fully until the overpressure valve releases some gas. Then partially deflate it and test the valve by pulling the cord to confirm that all components are functioning correctly. It is crucial to understand that this preliminary check is not a substitute for the pre-dive safety assessment conducted with your teammate, as it represents only the initial step in the sequence, with the remaining checks to be carried out in the water before descending. To detect leaks in your regulator set, it is advisable to assemble your gear approximately 30 minutes before the dive and close the cylinder valve. Any system leaks will be indicated by a change in the position of the SPG needle. When storing your equipment in a crowded area or during transportation before the dive, ensure it is properly secured to prevent it from rolling or falling, which could cause personal injury or damage to the equipment or surroundings. The sequence of donning hoses when gearing up is of paramount importance. Begin by placing the short hose bungee around your neck. The long hose always comes second, which is crucial as it needs to be shared in an out-of-gas scenario, so it must remain free of entanglements. Proper routing and stowing of the long hose are essential to ensure it remains streamlined, manageable, and readily accessible. Route the hose from the first stage under your right arm. Form a loop and position it over your head so that the second stage rests on your right side, ready to be clipped to your shoulder D-ring. The easiest way to stow the excess length of the long hose is to tuck it under the waist strap, ensuring it is snugly streamlined, but not so tight as to restrict leftward head movement while using the second stage. Following the dive, it is essential to disassemble your gear properly. Begin by closing the cylinder valve and depressurizing the system by purging any of the second stages. Disconnect the inflator hose and unclip the SPG from the waist D-ring. Remove the first stage by unscrewing it from the cylinder valve. If you encounter resistance, gently maneuver the first stage while turning the knob. Once you have verified that the dust cap is clean and dry, reattach it to the first stage to safeguard against dust and moisture intrusion. Detach the long hose regulator and gather the entire regulator assembly. Set it down carefully on a clean surface or place it in your carrying bag. If there is any air left in your BC at this stage, it is advisable to release it to facilitate easier removal. Open the bands and slide the BC off the cylinder. Rinse all equipment in fresh water after each dive to remove salt. For thorough cleaning, you may soak the second stages of your regulator, the SPG, and the inflator hose for several hours to ensure complete salt removal. Rinse the first stage thoroughly, but avoid soaking it in case the dust cap doesn't seal properly. Store all your gear in a dry environment, your BC partially inflated, and your regulator set with the hoses loosely coiled. Thanks for watching and hope you learned something. Consider subscribing to FlowState Divers to become part of the community of conscious divers and to get notified on our upcoming content.